to kind of start the conversation, and also recognizing Pam and I in our sphere work with the co-curricular side of the house. So we are curious, and when we kind of talked about how we were going to frame this, what are people seeing in the faculty side of the house? Because that is something that's important to us in terms of partnering and figuring out how are we supporting our students on both sides. But really just providing some insight. And also, there's a lot of stuff going in the student affairs world just through social media and stuff like that, and really collaborating with how we're supporting each other moving forward with programming. I know Pam and her team have been working a lot with programming. We've been working a lot just in general connection with students, maintaining really what the residence life kind of bubble provides for our students. And that's something that's been important to me and my team. So really just trying to frame some of that and kind of what does this look like? Pam, was I missing anything before we dive into the questions?
No, that was a great intro. And hi, everyone. It's so great to see so many of you on. We really just kind of wanted, being that this is kind of a nice 15-minute coffee break, to also just keep this as kind of a brainstorming session. It's rare that we all get to kind of combine together, and just seeing how what we're all doing, whether it's in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and how we can support our students as they possibly.
One thing that we wanted to kind of just throw to open group is I was gonna say we mute. No, perfectly fine. What does the new normal look like for our students? So I was reading a really interesting article online last night that people sometimes say that higher ed can't kind of shift its paradigm quickly enough, and that we in higher ed are always the ones that kind of drag our feet. And I always take stuff like that when I read it with a grain of salt, but this article was really great because it talked about that we, in the course of 3 weeks, a month, have really shifted to a brand new normal of what higher education looks like. And I'm curious, I know the students are really kind of breaking down what that normal looks like for them and figuring out, how do I use technology to engage in the classroom? How am I participating in open mic? Pam, you're doing an open mic tonight. Is that?
Yeah, we're attempting a virtual talent show tonight for our students. So so I guess I can give some context what Campus Life is doing, and then maybe that can kind of spark us a little bit. So 2 weeks ago we went online. That was spring break week. Last week we started with virtual programming. So in my normal day, we look at a lot of our student clubs and organizations, helping them with events, and as well as creating opportunities for students on the evenings and weekends. And so we tried to keep some regular programs and shift them online. And so this year we've been doing a lot of yoga programming. And so lucky enough, I'm the yoga instructor. Yoga with Pam. So we've been able to shift that online, which has been really great, just being able to offer that for students. Last week we did a trivia night, which we often do on campus. We were able to host that via Zoom. And we were able to raffle or give some DoorDash gift cards as our grand prizes, which is really great right now, just to entice students. We did see about 25 to 30 students log on for that hour, so that was really awesome. This week, we're trying a virtual talent show tonight. So we asked students 6 o'clock, come on in, bring your talent. My pitch to students has been, if you don't have a talent, well, figure it out, because there's a lot of cool things in your house. So maybe you're playing silverware, or drawing with your eyes closed, or doing something fun. So just trying to engage students in any different way possible. We are, myself and Kelly in my office, we're hosting kind of a tea time on Friday. We're calling it Hot Tea and Hot Topics, just to try to get some student impact, sharing what they would like to see. And we're kind of doing this as a trial and error. And so just seeing what items stick and what maybe isn't so great. We hosted a leadership workshop last week at Thursday at 3:30. I had about 8 to 10 students. That was great. We tried one last night at 5. I only got 2 students. So maybe Wednesdays at 5 isn't our popular time. So just kind of playing around with it. So with that, maybe I want to open the floor a little bit. Feel free to unmute yourself. Do you all have other ideas of what you're doing for engagement, or things you'd like to try, or things you don't know how to get off the ground?
Hi, I'll just share quickly. I know, Pam, we've kind of touched base, so you're probably in the loop about this, but just in case, there's anything else that comes up that anyone else is hearing, or like as you and Kelly are talking more. But, in terms of the grant, and for those that don't know, I'm the project coordinator for Molloy's Violence Against Women grant. So April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we were originally intending to do some programming, but with the changes we're hoping to still have some virtual programming, but making sure that the messaging is appropriate for the time and very, trying to keep a positive, keep the positive messages with it. So we have some, online social media campaigns that we're hoping to do. We're going to have the 30 Days of Sam challenge where we're asking different departments to engage. And also we have a pledge from the national organization, It's On Us, that I'm going to be sending out too.
Yep.
And there's a lot of other things that I've seen other colleges doing, like film screenings and discussion topics. I guess I'm curious about, your thoughts on things like that. And, I know you've only tried a few things so far, but like what's worked and what's not worked. Like, do you think students would be interested in like a movie night on something like that with a discussion, or it's better to, keep it kind of brief? Like, what are you seeing is the best format for things?
Yeah, I think we're all still figuring it out.
Yep.
I think our kind of tricks right now is just trying different things. And so I was listing some of the programs. I also wanted to mention, we just tried some like more passive things for students to engage in, maybe not together, but on their own. So last week to all current students, we sent out 2 brain teasers and said, fill out, answer the brain teasers. You have a few days. And if you answer correctly, you'll be entered in to win a raffle. This week, we sent out an intricate coloring page on Monday of a lion and just said,
it was intense.
Draw, color it, and just hashtag Molloy Life on Instagram. And so we're just trying different ways of engagement. I think it's a balance. I think a lot of students are trying to find some engagement. Just from the few students I have spoken to through student government this week and other programming. I also know that a lot of the students are aware of maybe the uptick of work right now online. And I think it's during the adjustment period, just kind of getting used to what their schedule is. I think so often we talk to students about finding their routine and time management and figuring it all out. And I think unfortunately at this point it's March and I think they have their routine down, but for a very in-person on campus experience. And so now it's really shifting that of what that looks like. And maybe they're also balancing their other siblings being home. I had a student I was talking to the other day, she's one of 7. And she said, well, it's really interesting. We're all back in the house now because a few of them are in college, a few are in high school. And so it's just shifting kind of that paradigm back. I don't know what other people are seeing, especially those in the classroom. If you're also seeing comments from students or things that have been really working effectively in your engagement in courses.
I can share from a residential student standpoint. I've had a couple of conversations with students that especially they sign on for the residential student experience, for living with people, engaging with people. And it's interesting that Pam brought up that piece about kind of figuring out again. And one of our biggest things was really trying to adapt to this new normal for the students. But the students that I've talked to even miss the camaraderie of being like, okay, Pam and I are both sunshine majors and we're going to go and run and we're going to bounce ideas off of each other of how to manage our classes, especially in March towards the end, April, when things start to get really busy, and they're missing some of that. So we've had some conversations in the residence life side about using Zoom and about having individual floor conversations and floor meetings and really taking advantage of the technology again for that support. And specifically when I had that conversation with one of our first year students, she was like, I just need to talk to someone that's not my family. I just need to have that. And one of the reasons that I wanted to live on campus was that I could get away from my family. No offense to family members, obviously, or anything like that, but she was looking for that outlet. So how do we continue to provide that outlet, especially looking at such a narrow, okay, you're just working with residential students that are living on campus. And now my team is like, how do we still manage that engagement? So I think it's really piggybacking on what Pam was talking about.
And I think it really is, I'm a big fan of rolling with the punches, and I think we're all doing as a Molloy community a really good job with that. And so I know for us too, this week we were trying to shift that focus of doing some outreach to our clubs. I think, 2 weeks ago, a lot of them thought, well, my club is over. My club is done. We're not going to be meeting in person. We're not going to be doing this. And I think we have really been blessed with great technology. And so really kind of proving to them of, no, let's keep the conversation going. How can we support you in continuing that? Gaming, we have an excellent gaming club, which is one of our most active clubs on campus. They haven't missed a beat. They were able to work on servers and get that up and running, but that means that they're engaging, 30 to 45 students at their normal club time at Thursdays at 3:30. And I think routine as much as we can right now is a helpful tool. I know that's how we're also shifting as we talk rolling with the punches. Next week, in campus life, we're aiming to do a little bit more routine programming. And so maybe for the next few weeks, we're going to look at, Mondays at 5 o'clock will be a standing program, and Thursdays at 6 o'clock will be a standing program, just to give a little bit more routine to our students' lives, especially as the world is ever changing.
Are there things maybe that people are seeing in the classroom that might say, you know what, we can offer something on the student affairs side of the house, or we can offer something to kind of augment if people are saying that they need more social interaction, they're saying that they need X, Y, and Z? That's really piggybacking again what Pam is talking about, that I've always looked at, or we've always looked at our mission to be co-curricular and to work hand in hand, and especially as the students are navigating some of this type of stuff. We've really been fortunate to kind of, as Pam said, roll with the punches. And if students, after the student talked to me the other day, I said, okay, we're going to do a Fitzgerald Hall meetup, and we're going to set up something for anybody that wants to come and see their floor mates, see their building mates, see their RAs, and just check in and chat. So really, it's an opportunity again to really dictate what we want this experience to look like.
I think it's probably a bit different for my doctoral students, since I mostly teach doctoral students, but we've moved some of our events online. So I guess a week and a half ago now, we hosted one of our fireside chats, and we had 89 people come to it, which was more than what we normally have in person. And my advisees actually have been wanting that social connection. So I've sort of hosted a tea time where I pull my advisees together once a week, and that seems to be helping.
When I think it's still maintaining, and one of the other questions that Pam and I were talking about is, I think, and I've had the opportunity to work at a number of different institutions in my career, and it's, what do we sell and what do we push the value of Molloy? And it's that interactive collaboration and that connection that we're able to have with students. So how do we maintain that connection in this kind of virtual world? Is there anything else that faculty members are seeing? Are we sensing any type of overwhelmed piece? Because that was interesting when I was talking, she's going to be a rising senior last night, and I was having an email exchange with a student that was asking a specific process question, but then she admitted that she's just overwhelmed with everything going on. And that threw me for a loop in the initial process.
Dr. Cutter, did you have something to add?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I teach from first year to research graduating seniors, and I found particularly with my first year students that a lot of them had never taken an online course before. So all of a sudden we went from meeting 3 times a week, 6 hours a week I spend with them, to everything moving online, and they were completely overwhelmed, not prepared. And how we always ran the course was very structured, synchronous, specific due dates. And I found that for me, I just needed to kind of shift them to more how I teach my online courses, where I give them the week. These are the assignments. They'll do it on their time. I didn't realize how many hurdles that they had in their own lives, whether it was a family member who was sick. I had some students who had gotten sick, some students who had some pretty poor living conditions, just getting kind of access to laptops and resources. One was from out of state. Her family's in Florida. And she couldn't go home because her dad is immunocompromised. So she's, just kind of living in an apartment all by herself. So I just found that, just kind of being compassionate. And we meet, so I meet at their normal scheduled time, but I don't lecture. We just meet to say, hey, how's it going? What questions do you have? How can I help you? Do you need extra time? These are the assignments this week. Was anything a little bit too challenging? Do we need to be flexible on due dates? And I always encourage them just to kind of reach out to me one-on-one if they're having something, specific and personal that they don't want to share with everybody. And, you know, honestly, it was hard for me because I'm so used to being very strict with their due dates, especially as first year students. I try to get them on good habits. But I just found that if my objective is just to kind of teach them a certain material, I can't penalize them for not doing it. I want them to do the assignment. So just as long as I get it and that they've done it, I'm okay with that. And you just kind of have to be flexible and really just compassionate, because this is just something we and so much the students really are getting used to. So that's just my experience.
I'm reading some of the chat comments that are coming up, and interesting notes about some students are saying that their online workload is heavier than when attending class in person. And then Cynthia was talking about, can students be paired up with any graduates as mentors? So I think that goes along with even the idea of that I think all of us are looking for human connection, and kind of even funneling these coffee talks and getting people I know to talk to someone beyond my cat that sits on my lap when I do my work. But yeah, I mean, I think any of those components, I think really having the opportunity to engage with someone that even is just going through a similar opportunity or similar situation as this. It's interesting with the piece about students saying that the workload is heavier. Is it just that it's just different? So then they're just not used to that standard kind of, I'm going to go to class and I'm going to interact with my professor face to face and kind of have that conversation?
I wrote that. The few students that I talked to said, I guess some professors in trying to, they're giving, I guess, extra assignments to make up for their attendance part of their courses. They didn't give specifics, but the few of them that I was chatting with said they do have more work and they're finding that overwhelming. And I think it's a combination of not having chosen online courses, having switched to that, and then obviously life in general is overwhelming right now for everybody. But they were mentioning a greater workload.
One other student that I spoke with was talking about, and it really is just going along with what you said, they didn't expect that they were also going to be ending up taking care of family members, helping family members to navigate the concerns that they might have. I was thinking about what Noelle was talking about with student not being able to go home because their parent is immunocompromised, or family members, any of those types of things. So that's part of the equation too. And I know some students are really looking at, okay, my parent may be furloughed, may not be currently employed because of what's going on in the world. So now do I need to somehow help to kind of navigate that gap? And what support resources are available to kind of help when I'm taking my classes and now I need to go and try to find work to help at home?
Can I just ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So if we do have students that, you know, have all those difficulties, is there somewhere we should refer them to?
Yes. So one of the biggest things, refer them to Student Affairs. So Dr. Janine Biscari is our Vice President for Student Affairs, and she has been working individually with students that have concerns, anything from technology to food insecurity, really any of those types of things, because we are here to support the students in any of these different challenges.
Karl, it's Amory Luongo.
Hi.
I think we still have this committee. I think the name of it changed. It was the Students of Concern Committee. I think the faculty is aware of that. So is that still in operation? Is that still?
So I believe so. I haven't seen. So there's. I don't sit on that Students of Concern Committee specifically, but there's an additional one that I sit on with a representative from the faculty side, and Dr. Marian Flomenhoft and a couple of different people in there. I think we're still figuring out some of that scheduling, but I think it is important to still have those conversations. And I know that names funnel through those different things, and really the goal again, and it's the Students of Concern, they call it in some circles a behavior risk assessment group, but it's really saying, okay, this person is having trouble in class, this person needs additional support in the residence hall. How are we connecting the pieces to help the students to be successful? And I think just because we're in this virtual world doesn't mean that the students are not going to be going through some of these same challenges. So I haven't seen that scheduling come through. I think we're still figuring it out, obviously, as we go along, but I think it is important to continue to have those conversations. I was just say I saw someone put something in the chat.
Yes, Angela added that they are working on expanding funds through Molloy.
Yeah, I just want to add to the conversation, there is an emergency fund that Student Affairs manages, and I know Pam and others are very aware of this. We did raise some additional dollars during our golf outing for that. And last week we launched Molloy Strong, which Drew mentioned in his YouTube, and it's really to build up that emergency fund to support students going forward. And obviously it's just starting, so it's not something that's being put out broadly to students right now. We're trying to build the base of support because there have been students that don't have access to Wi-Fi, technology, and all those things that Student Affairs, I think, has been doing a yeoman's job at dealing with. So I just wanted to put that in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave new world, I think, is again one of the biggest things that I'm trying to wrap my mind around. And I know me personally, I'm trying to manage some of those things just in my individual life. And I can't imagine what some of these students are facing for any number of different avenues. So I think, again, that's really for us on the student affairs side, is to continue to provide even just a creative outlet, even if I am just going to go and sing karaoke, or I'm going to go and participate in trivia, or I'm going to go and look at any of those types of things. I know I'm a creature of habit. I get my Starbucks every morning and I have it. And even now with this, I was like, I still need to have it to feel like I am starting my day correctly. So what can we do? And to talk about what Pam was talking about, if I can still go to my club meeting and see my friends that we've worked so hard playing esports the whole entire year, then at least that's the one piece of normal that I can do while I am still thinking about taking care of grandma who's home, and do I need to go and make sure that she has food in her refrigerator because she can't go to the store, and some of those types of pieces. Did anybody else, I think we're just at right about time, but did anybody have any other ideas, thoughts, please, as you continue to see students that need support that we can connect with? Let Pam know, let myself know, let Janine know, any student affairs staff, we're here. So we may not be physically doing those face-to-face meetings and those interactions, but we are here. So we're here to obviously collaborate and support and make sure that the whole community works through this time, and is to piggyback what Angela was just talking about, Molloy Strong. That's really why we're Molloy. I was just saying, I'm reading some of the comments.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm sorry, Pam Chave. I came in a little late, so I don't know if you spoke about this or not. I'm part of the nursing program, and I had my phones forwarded to my cell phone when I left, and I'm getting a lot of the students looking for any number they can to try to get some health records. Is the health service, I know we can get some of it for them, but is health services available too? Can I direct them that way if they need any of their medical records for job interviews or?
I believe health services, student health services should be available. Pam, have you heard anything?
Yep, student health services are still available, so you can contact Danielle Giovanello or Anita DeLeo.
All right, so then I'll send her an email.
Contact them.
Okay, great. I'll send her an email then if I ever get somebody with that question. Sure. Okay.
Noelle, I love this. We still do the pledge in the morning announcements. Can I be involved in the pledge? It gives me some normalcy in my life too.
I think we're almost at
I would say any other closing thoughts, any other last minute questions, stuff like that?
I was just going to say, I think it's really great that, campus life and residence life is helping us to stay motivated. I think what I got from today's coffee talk was to keep being understanding, and we're going to get through this.
That's it. And recognizing again that the students look up to us. That's something that even when I was having this conversation, I don't think of myself as any type of particular role model, but she asked me, how would you navigate some of this, and kind of bowled me over for a second. So that was a very humbling experience at the same time.
Thanks, everybody.
I just wanted to add that I did
Thank
hear
you.
This is Kathy Carey. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me okay? It's Kathy Carey in Campus Ministries. I just wanted to add that I did hear yesterday that some of the students are writing letters to the sisters in Amityville, which I think is really a very nice thing, that they're still looking for that service, even you know, while they're at home, but they're so used to serving in so many ways that I just thought that was a really nice thing, because the sisters are all kind of isolated out there. So it's nice that they're.
One, I think I appreciate, I know there's some students that were making face masks. There's some students, Julia was collecting stuff for someone I saw. So I know that they're really highlighting some of the continued service that I think all of our students are really maintaining in this experience. And I think, again, that's part of Molloy Strong.
Yeah, I agree.
But thank you again all for taking the time, for humoring Pam and I as we kind of talked about the different opportunities, what students are seeing. And again, any support, anything that we can offer, don't hesitate to reach out.
Will do. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. High five, Pam. High five.